Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truth that honestly just doesn't get said out loud nearly enough. Raising a neurodivergent child is a uniquely exhausting experience. We're going to dive right into the biological reasons behind the daily stress you're likely feeling, and more importantly, we'll uncover a pretty counterintuitive antidote to the whole thing. If you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, well, you're exactly where you need to be. Okay, let's kick things off by acknowledging a phrase you've probably heard a million times from well-meaning friends or family. Yes, my child also screams and has meltdowns. It's so incredibly well-intentioned, isn't it? But man, for parents of neurodivergent kids, hearing that can feel deeply, deeply alienating. It completely misses the actual scale of what you're dealing with day in and day out. And hearing comments like that naturally leads to this really isolating internal question. Why is it so hard for me to cope when other parents seem to manage just fine? It makes you sit there and wonder why your daily parenting reality feels like a category of challenge completely separate from your peers. Well, spoiler alert here, it's because it actually is a completely different category of challenge. Whether your child is navigating sensory processing disorder, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, or any of the other complex conditions we've got listed here, like PANDAS or OCD, the result is often exactly the same for you as the parent. The complex trauma you experience as a caregiver across emotional, physical, and even social levels, it's completely valid. It is very real. This exhaustion isn't just in your head. It's the direct result of living on constant high alert. Which brings us to Section 1, the science of the struggle, the 3-2-1 brain mode. Let's look at the biological why behind these daily hurdles, which is absolutely the first step to dropping that heavy guilt of feeling like a bad parent. So, the crucial point is this. The reptilian part of their brain is unusually sensitive and reactive. Actually, scratch that. Let's be really clear here. This isn't about bad behavior, and it is certainly not about bad parenting. It's just pure biology. Your child's survival mechanisms, that ancient part of the brain built for literal life or death emergencies, are triggered much faster and they stay in control much, much longer than usual. And this dynamic creates the massive disconnect you face every single day. The world expects kids to operate in what we call the 1-2-3 mode. That represents the rational neocortex being in control. It's the thinking brain, right? But your child's nervous system is often locked into a 3-2-1 mode, where the reptilian survival brain completely dominates with those intense flight, flee, or freeze responses. So you're basically asking a brain currently trapped in survival mode to act like a brain in thinking mode. And those two, they just don't mix. Now, this biological reality explains a huge frustration parents face when seeking professional help. Behavioral and cognitive modalities should not be the first line of intervention. Why? Well, because traditional therapies rely on that 1-2-3 rational brain actually being accessible. But as we just saw, you literally cannot logic a child out of a deeply rooted biological survival response. If a therapist relies exclusively on higher brain-centered approaches while a kid is stuck in a 3-2-1 survival mode, they are inevitably going to get stuck. And because of these constant, uncontrollable flare-ups, worried parents naturally try to regain control by turning up the intensity of their cajoling and discipline. That usually fails, which leads us right into Section 2, the caregiver's hidden trauma, dealing with shame and guilt. Feeling inadequate or ashamed is almost inevitable when you feel utterly helpless in the face of your child's pain, or when they angrily reject you. But here is the most counterintuitive advice for living with these feelings. Don't try to change how you feel. I know, it sounds totally backward, right? But when you try to force yourself not to feel stressed or guilty, you're actually sending a signal to your own brain that something is broken and needs fixing. And guess what? That signal is so stressful, it just activates your own survival mechanisms all over again. So instead of fighting the discomfort and getting caught in that endless downward cycle of self-criticism, we need to introduce a psychological pivot. Section 3. The self-compassion antidote. A path out of the trap. Back in 2003, researcher Kristen Neff defined self-compassion as an emotionally positive self-attitude that can protect against the negative consequences of self-judgment, isolation, and rumination. Basically, extending kindness to yourself isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. It is an actual, measurable buffer against the isolation and depression that's so often baked right into the dynamics of neurodivergent parenting. And wow, do we desperately need this compassion, especially because of your everyday battlegrounds? Think about it. Virtually everything you do for your child, from simply getting them to eat or sleep to bathing, dressing, and exploring, it can all instantly become a 3-2-1 reactive battleground. No matter how skilled or loving you are, these moments are going to happen. And they leave you feeling like you're constantly failing. But you're not failing. You're just navigating an incredibly volatile landscape. So, how do we actually practice this? By becoming what the source calls a self-observer. Step 1. Put aside evaluation and judgment entirely. Just drop it. Step 2. Notice what you feel stuck about and exactly how you experience it in your body. Step 3. Pay equal attention to the good, relaxed moments, like when do things actually lighten up. And step 4, gather data on your senses without trying to change a single thing. You kind of want to treat your emotional journey like a research project. By simply observing your feelings and gathering data, you allow change to happen naturally rather than trying to forcefully impose it. So if you take nothing else away, please remember these simplified self-compassion facts. First, remind yourself that you are always doing the best you can in the moment. Sure, given a choice, you might have responded differently, but sometimes you just couldn't because stress triggers those 3-2-1 survival mechanisms in everyone. Yup, even you. Second, criticizing yourself causes your nervous system to mentally and emotionally contract, whereas observing your feelings without trying to change them creates expansion, giving you the real capacity to endure those difficult moments. Finally, I want you to just take a deep breath right now and repeat this phrase to yourself the next time things get hard. I don't like to feel this way, but it is okay to feel this way. Honestly, honoring your pain without judgment is exactly what tells your own nervous system that you are safe, allowing you to finally calm down. So, I'll leave you with this question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. What would happen to your daily stress levels if, starting today, you treated yourself with the exact same immense grace and patience you are so desperately trying to offer your child?